Okay, guys, welcome back again to this skill session. So, let me give you a brief. My name is Ravi, and I'm gonna facilitate today towards this SQL session, which is conducted by COEPD. So we were discussing about the SQL. What is SQL? And most of you were able to give the right answer that SQL is a language, not a database. And on other hand, how important it is for a business analyst on the same note. So BA will be working only if they are connected or working for banking or finance organization. Rest all, there is no requirement as such in current generation. Current trend. Moving on to the next screen, we can practice on SQL using this application, that is SQL Server Machine Learning System, which is also called as SSMS. But this application requires a lot of patch-up downloads, a lot of version downloads, and at times it is not possible for your laptop or desktop to support, and it takes much of time. So I'm gonna recommend you one of the links which will be easy for you to download and practice on the same thing. So moving to the next. What is the database or DB, guys? Team, what is the database or DB as per your understanding?
Wherein we keep our records or data.
It's a collection of data.
The tables and all.
Okay.
Collection of records.
Right. So it's an organized collection of data, generally stored and accessed from a computer system, just like your hard disk, where you can store all the files, folders, movie, images, whatever you try to say. What is the purpose of DB?
To extract the relevant, things which you're looking out for it.
To get a better accessibility to the records.
Yeah, so it's to organize the data and make it available in convenient form for view or for analyze purpose. So we try to work on something and we save it. That's also a kind of database, and we can, extract it anytime whenever I want to have a look, maybe in future. What types of DBs are available or known by us? What types of databases are available and known to us?
DBMS and RDBMS.
Right. So DBMS stands for Database Management System, and RDBMS stands for Relational Database Management System. Okay. Next, there are a few fundamentals for the SQL. We term it like a CRUD. Okay. So this will help you understand what actually is happening. How do we cut it? Yeah, hello.
Hello. So please, can you go back to the before slide? Okay, take a screenshot. Thanks.
No need to take screenshot because this is a recording and it will be available in your student portal library section. You can refer it whenever you want.
The same video will be available in.
Sorry.
The same video will be available in the portal.
Yes, this will be there. There will be no edit as such. The same thing will be uploaded in your library section in your COEPD portal.
Okay.
So CRUD stands for what?
Sir, what is the difference between this DBMS and RDBMS?
Yeah, we will discuss on this in coming slides.
Okay.
So CRUD stands for create, read, update, delete. Important factors for SQL, wherein which as a BA for us, we are only having the right or the authority for reading. We can neither create, update, or delete. You will not have access, even if you're working in finance organization also, you will max to max have a read option on. But you will never have access for create, update, delete. One mistake happen, any mistake if occurs in the database beforehand, it will be tough to recall everything or to consider entire thing. It will be a total collapse. So are we clear with the CRUD and in terms of BA connectivity with the SQL? So next is the features of DBMS and RDBMS. DBMS applications store data as file. Okay. So in DBMS, data is generally stored in either hierarchical form or a navigational form. Something like which does not have that much of shape or structure like Notepad or your WordPad like that. DBMS uses file system to store data, so there will be no relationship between the tables. When I'm typing in WordPad and all, there is no structure as such. You cannot see the layout. It will keep on going. You have to change either into wrap text or into a plain text format. DBMS is meant to be for small organization and deal with small data. It supports single user at a time. That is DBMS. Example of DBMS as file systems are like XML, etc. Whereas in RDBMS applications store data in tabular form. That is the example like your Excel. In RDBMS, the tables have an identifier called primary key, and the data values are stored in the form of tables. Data values stored in the form of tables, so a relationship between these data values will be stored in form of table as well. RDBMS is designed to handle large amount of data. It supports multiple users at a time. And few examples for RDBMS is MySQL, Postgre, SQL Server, Oracle, and many more. So basically, when I'm trying to look into DBMS and RDBMS, my database management system is a kind of storing data, yes, but it does not have any format as such. It is a plain text format I can consider, and whatever you type, whatever you try to draw in that, and you can save it. In terms of Excel, yeah.
Can you explain this identifier called primary key and data values?
Yes, I will do that. I will do that in next slide. Okay. So in DBMS, whenever I'm trying to work, let's just take example of your what do you call MS Excel only, or in terms of how many of you have ever worked on OpenOffice? Are you aware with OpenOffice? Any of you?
No, sir.
OpenOffice is also like an Excel kind of thing, MS Excel only, but it is
I'm
not.
aware of it.
But it is not in that level how MS Excel is functional. Okay, and in OpenOffice you have for small work also you have to keep searching. But that's secondary. When you try to save on these options, irrelevant of whatever grid you create, or in OpenOffice you work in any of the doc, it will be in XML format because it will not save any kind of format. It will just take a plain text. Okay, you can key in n number of things and you can save. Or on the other hand, you can consider like a notepad, example of DBMS or a OneNote. These all comes in a DBMS format. RDBMS on the other hand is always a bigger data and it can support multiple people. Can you create a notepad and update in one of the server anywhere? And can that be accessed by multiple people at the same time? Guys, it's a question. Will you be able to create anything in a notepad? So basically, we will not be able to do that thing in DBMS, but in RDBMS, let's say example for MS Excel or MS Word or any Google form you create, that can be accessed by many people at the same time and they can do multiple functionality. That is the difference between DBMS versus RDBMS. Okay. So are you understanding what is DBMS and what is RDBMS? Team?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what is R stand for in RDBMS?
Rational.
Rational. Okay.
Yeah. Relational.
Relational.
Relational. Yeah.
Okay.
So next is SQL executions. Like what can SQL do? What is this attributes? So SQL can execute queries against a database, can retrieve data from a database, can insert records in a database, can update records, can delete the record, create new database, can create new tables in database, can create stored procedures in database, can create views in database, can set permissions on tables, procedures and views as such. So these are the few executions which an SQL can do. A basic question. Okay. Next is tables in SQL. Table in SQL are termed as a record and field towards the row and column, and unique key identifies the table row. How? Giving an example here where I'm having a data from 1 to 4 in a row and column. Okay. So over here in this example, can you tell me what is the unique number here?
ID.
Pin code.
ID.
Pin code and ID.
Yes. Right. Pin code and ID is unique because these are the values and it is not repeating. Okay. And other aspect of like name, city, state, I can say that state does not have any repetition. Oh, sorry, it is having repetition of Florida. City is having for Tampa, and the name is something like not repeating. But when I am working on the same to extract any of the information, let's say an example of Excel, and you are considering to use VLOOKUP over there, what will you give for reference?
ID.
Unique ID. Some.
ID, unique ID, right? Because VLOOKUP cannot go reverse. I cannot take pin code and make it a reverse search. So I have to use the first primary as the unique ID, which will give me an reference that I am considering whatever numbers of recall, it will pull that information. Well, that is good in terms of Excel, but how will you call the same thing in terms of SQL? So what happens here? When I'm taking an example of a retail store here for your convenience. Left hand side, I'm having a box called sales, right side item, and right next to it at the bottom, I'm having a customer box. I hope you're able to see this golden key for all the item ID.
Yes.
Okay. This is called as PK, or another one, primary key. Okay. The reason behind we maintaining a primary key is to give the exact match or exact lookout. So if I take example of retails, I'm sure that there will be multiple item and many customers will come and buy. What if within 1 hour there are few set of people coming and buying the same item? And if in India, if you're there, there might be possibility that every other name is repeated. May that be Rahul or Shiv or Shankar, anything like that, it will be repeating. System cannot understand for which person I'm trying to request for. In that aspect, what we do in SQL, we give option called a primary key. Basically, in Excel, we call it like a serial number. So we will give a values here like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 and all. That will create a unique identification for each of the entries. Till here it is okay. But how system will understand in retail that for what item and what customer is it is. So in that aspect, this data or table, what it will have primary key and also a foreign key. The foreign key is what? Can you see in green section, item ID and customer ID? This is connected with your item table and customer table. This will be considered as a foreign key. So let's say you go to a shop and you buy something like your camera or something. Consider yourself over there. Your item ID in the system is 1, which is with the camera. Okay, so it will capture that information. It says camera for description of 64 megapixel. Okay, and then customer ID. So I'm entering the database over there. I might have the customer name as well. I'll go and key in. So second name as a customer ID is for Sean Smith, state of Tampa, Florida, and pin code whatever. What it does, item ID 1 will capture the item. Customer ID will take which customer it is for and how much of quantity you are trying to purchase. So I've given 3 and total price value which is throwing here is 90,000. Means each of the item cost is 30,000. Let me give you an example, or I hope you will be able to more relate to it. So when you go to any DMart, Reliance store, or anything, or when you're doing a purchase from online, big basket or anything, when you select one item, any XYZ item, you have the option over there which will show as.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, hello.
Excuse me, sir. There is lot of disturbance coming in background, sir. So others people should be on mute, sir.
Yeah, I'm requesting all of you to
Yes,
please
sir.
be on mute.
Please, yes, sir. Please request, sir. Please.
Yeah, I have kept all of them in mute. Whoever want to speak, request you to unmute yourself. For that, you can press long space. It will unmute, and once you release, it will be mute back. Okay. So I was saying, like when you are doing a purchase from Big Basket or Amazon or Flipkart, anything towards grocery or any item, let that be. You are logging into the account. The first section of work is happening. The second, when you are browsing through any of the item, you select the multiples of it. Could be 1 or could be more than 1. How system is understanding that this is the customer and this is the item is selecting and this is the item, whatever you're looking for is somewhere located. Are you able to understand the example what I'm trying to give you in terms of retail store here?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
If I'm going to any local store also, I'll pick up few items. Let me say I have picked up 3 packets of milk and 2 biscuit, 2 cookies or something like that, and I go straight to the billing counter and hand over them. They will scan. The moment it scans, he has to enter manually there how many item it is there. Understand one thing, your multiples of the item cannot be given by the system. It is a manual work. However, rest all activity in terms of the item description and value, everything is extracted by your system. Okay. Now that extraction of information from the system and reflecting on the screen is happening through foreign key. How? Every item, whatever you see here, item or customer, these all will be maintained in separate structure. So if I have to give it in a more granular way, an item will be broken into 3 different sections. Item with item ID, item with name, item with description. Similarly, the same thing will repeat with the customer section, with customer ID one section, customer name one section, customer to state one section, and there will be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different customer sections. And these all are merged to your sales database or the screen. So whenever you scan your item, whenever you pull any information, it will extract from that particular section and reflect here. Why is it done in that way? Because in this structure, let's say your memory card section of number 2 has gone corrupted, okay, or it has been deleted accidentally by anybody or by system itself. Okay, what will happen when you run this program or when you try to extract this information? You will get no value. System will throw an error, item not found, or will give some other aspect. Similarly, when you move to the next level, it will still show error. Why? Because this field is empty and system is not able to read the next column. So 2 things we will do. We cannot maintain a data empty. Either it should be value with a 0 or null, but not empty definitely. Parallelly, when we are creating separate box here, the reason behind, if any of the field is getting corrupted or anything happens, it will not hamper my following structure. My team will work on only that area. Are you able to understand what I'm trying to communicate here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So can you help me understand in this sales, what is this second one here? How is it considering between these 2 boxes? Any of you?
So second is the memory card and item sale, and cust ID is 2. So that cust ID belongs to other customer. Sale ID is the transaction number 2.
Yeah. So customer ID is 2. What is that person name?
Sean
Smith.
Right. And the same way for the third is
Christina.
Item ID one, which is
Camera. It's camera and it's for Will Smith.
Will Smith Hollywood.
Right.
Quantities.
Right. You're correct. So whenever you update any information over here with the help of foreign key, it will extract the information and it will throw out the actual price or the output depending upon the domain what you're working for. So here tables are written by the keys, and table keys are used to create relationship with tables. Every table must be unique and cannot have null values. Foreign keys are used to connect 2 tables together and also called as join statement. So in terms of retail store, this is an example which I'm trying to give. The same logic is applied for majorly all the concept or all the works wherever database is working. I'll also show you how it looks like in the upcoming few slides. So after this, let's see into the few of the SQL commands. Okay, these are the commands which is basically used, but whenever we are using, I'll also tell you. This is just for your information purpose. The first one is called data definition language, and DDL, the short form. In DDL, in data definition language, you will have commands like create, alter, drop, rename, truncate, and comment. Okay, this might not be important for us, but I'm just giving you information so that if you're practicing anywhere or if you get to hear such thing, you are able to relate what it is actually. So create, we understand, is a procedure command to create a stored procedure. A stored procedure is a prepared SQL code that you can save so that the code can be reused over and over again. You create it one time and save that command entirely, and it's something works like a copy paste, but you can store it. Copy paste you cannot store. It will be in your what do you call? There's a section where it will be reflecting for few minutes only. But in SQL create, you can give a command and you can save so that you can recall it whenever you want in the future. Other is alter. Alter table statement is used to add, delete, modify columns in any of the existing table. Alter table statement is also used to add and drop various constraints on existing table, whichever you want to or wherever you want to use it. Drop, on the other hand, drop table statement is used to drop an existing table in database. Rename, this is something where you understand we want to give a new name from an existing database like table or column anywhere, and you can use this functionality to give a new name. Truncate removes all rows from table, but the table structure and in column, constraint, indexes, and so on remain as it is. Means you are removing that lines, but your structure remain as it is. The only thing is it will remain same format, but you cannot see the lines. Comment to explain sections of SQL statement or to prevent execution of SQL statement. This is where you will place the comment section. This is all about DDL. Towards DQL, that is data query language, we have only one functionality which you can relate to is called select and is used to select data from database. The data returned is stored in result table called the result set. As a BA, we use this feature to search any desired data if required or asked. So if I have to pull up any information towards any of the requirements from the client, I will use select and then give the forward by the commands, and it will throw up that relevant structure or data. Next is DML, that is data manipulation language. Here we will have few commands like insert, update, delete, merge, call, explain plan, lock table. So what is insert? Insert is add one or more record to any single table in relational database. So if I have to add few more rows or columns with function of insert, I can update them. Update is to modify the existing records in table. So if you want to add new information to the existing table, you have to bring up with the update command with giving the table name or database name, and you can update the information. Delete, we don't use it, however, is used to delete existing record in a table. Merge is used to make changes in one table based on the values matched from other. It can be used to combine insert, update, and delete operation into one statement. Merge cannot function between two different databases. It can function for your one database only. If you're trying to connect with A database to C or B anywhere, if it is in different structure, it cannot connect. Call, the call also known as explain plan statement are supported in PL/SQL only when executed dynamically. Call and select is somewhat similar, but the functionalities are different. Explain plan, to determine the execution plan, Oracle database follows the execute a specified SQL statement. This statement inserts a row describing each step of execution plan into a specified table. The last is lock table to prevent deadlock and concurrent data changes and modification to maintain consistency and atomicity of transaction on database table. So lock table basically we will use in financial, it's not only for the financial, you have multiple areas to work. If I am giving a command over here to lock table, I am trying to prevent it from any locks or any data content losses as such. So it will remain as it is. You will not be able to do any type of functionality towards that table. Next, the last is DCL, which is data control language. So data control language, you have two things which is basically done by BA or given to BA. It's called grant and revoke. So grant is what to prevent deadlock and concurrent changes and hello. Hi, so to prevent deadlock and concurrent data changes and modification to maintain consistency and atomicity of transaction on database tables. Revoke, on other hand, to remove the privilege of user account for access of database object. It revokes permission granted to user on a database object and also revokes the access rights assigned to user. Sorry. here the revoke command removes every privilege initially granted to the user. So if you are working as a BA for any finance, any organization, and you are being asked to look into it, the very first thing you have to place a request to have this access because you are asked from the client. If your database technician or person is not reluctant or not willing to give you, they will run that and they'll share the screenshot with you. If they want, they can then give you an option where, I mean, like an option of grant, where you can check on that table and that access which is given to you will be limited for hardly 10 minutes. And after that, it will be automated recall. So this is SQL commands towards DDL, DQL, DML, and DCL. Let's check next towards your SQL Workbench. This is the application which I'm trying to give you. This is a free download version which you can find in Google Chrome. You can download and you can use and practice. This is one of the easiest application compared to your SSMS. Are you able to see the link which I'm trying to show in a yellow background?
Yes.
Sir.
So this you can try to check on this in your Google Chrome and try to download MySQL Workbench. It will be very easy to download and it will give you an understanding on how to work or how to create a table or how to run on it. So this is the initial screen, how to look like. Okay, you will have 3 tabs on the next to the left hand side. This will talk about the SQL Workbench and a dummy section, and then some information towards this application. We will also have a feature where I can create multiple links. If you can see, my SQL connections beginning will come in this aspect with only one local instance. I can create multiple over here towards which I can work. Next screen. This is how it will look like. In between, in center, you have the canvas where you can give the command, and left hand side will be a schema towards whatever you create database, and it will look, or you can call it. So whatever you create in the canvas will reflect next to the schemas. So if you can see, I have created a command, create database test DB with the ending with semicolon, and to run it. Next, output section, you can see with the green check mark, it says create database test DB is created successfully. Okay, how it will be done? So once you give this command, you have to click on the query section on the icons on the top, and here you will have option like execute for all selections to text or current statement. So basically what I do, I'll take into the consideration of whatever I'm working. If it is one liner, I will take the current section, else I will select for all and execute for the first one. So once I'm performing this activity, this is how it will be looking in the bottom. Create database, department database created successfully. Okay. The next is, if I'm giving an incorrect name anywhere, let's say create table test semicolon, you can see it says unable to create. Can you see the cross mark here? All of you, this will showcase that it's not working, and error code will be reflecting 1046, no database selected. So I have to understand first of all how I'm working on this. Next, this is some feature of your schemas. Basically, you can extract multiple set of work what you have done, okay, in terms of schema. But unlike your full stack application, this is the application which is free version, has its own limitation. You will not be able to perform some of the features, and this is one of them. Though it is there, but it will sometimes not work. On the other screen, you have for local instance of data import, where whatever data you created, you can import that either in terms of Word or in terms of an image, which is like a kind of schemas. Let's look into the DB schema, how it will look like. Are you able to see the diagram, which is called DB schema here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So if you remember, we had a question in your capstone 1 or 2 somewhere, how a retail DB schema would look like and what is the structure. So this is the kind of a skeleton on how it will perform or rather look like and how about its attributes. So if you can see here, it says database
Sir,
for
please
job.
explain what is schema.
See, yeah, that's what I'm doing. This is what it is. This is the schema. Schema is something which we'll talk about one functionality connected with the multiple subunits. Now, like I gave the example of retail, you have a customer section and you have a item section. And collating these two sections, I'm having one major section where everything is reflecting. Here, if I see in the center in this diagram, the center job history, I am having so many input here: constraint, start date, employee ID, company ID, and so on things. And these all are connected to my subunits here. And you see the employee here, employee ID, integer, first name, varchar, and all like this. So when I am updating the database for so and so people, calling this database name as employee, this is gonna save to my main database here. Doing so, what happens if I have anything corrections here or any removal happen accidentally also, it will not impact my database schema. My schema will be intact, but it will throw an error that something is wrong. Somebody has to look into it. So that is when your database engineer will look into that particular table to figure out what is the mistake happening here. Over here, every name, whatever comes with a PK. Are you able to see this name PK? Just look into the cursor where I'm placing.
Yes, sir. Primary
So,
key.
primary key, right? But on the other hand, in the constraints, I am having primary key as well as the foreign key also. Are you able to see the center diagram with PK and then followed by FK?
Yes, sir.
No, can you please repeat once again that point?
Yeah. Here you can see there is a PK, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
And then you have all the values for the foreign key. Are you able to see FK here? The same foreign key
Yes.
is repeated here with the PK.
Yes.
These all are giving a command or using a command which will be saved to my this portion of work. So any command you give when you're working in SQL, let's say you're working for your company and you are giving the input like company ID. So I will, like, if you have used little coding, working on Excel, values we define in terms of integer and varchar and strings. Okay, so company ID basically will come in string and then company name, description is varchar where you can define the description. On the other hand, for the constraints, I am giving primary key as company ID because I am working for this company base. Same, your primary key for employee will change to employee _ employee ID. You have to understand this thing because you will not create this. Even if you're working for finance organization, you have to understand if I'm extracting a table, what command I'm giving so that I can extract the structure out of it. Something is not reflecting, you're getting some message. That means you have to inform your database team that something is wrong. I'm unable to extract, rather I'm getting an error message. Are you able to understand what I'm trying to communicate here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you as a BA will have nothing more to do in SQL, but rather to only pull the structure to view if it is reflecting in terms of your requirement of the client. Can you all give me one example for database schema or database data? I mean database, which is very common and you, let me give you more better example in terms of bank transactions and all. Can you give me one format which is like a database, which is holding data from all over the areas?
Medical industry, like the medical store, we can say that.
Yeah, one good. Anything else?
Pharmacy in medical store or in big hospital, how medicine is arranged or how related to the patients and related to the disease, we can say that when considering the different companies name and all these things. So I think that is the kind of database we can maintain.
Correct. You can have your multiple directories on that how many medicines are there, how many syrups are there, and you update them in terms of the serial number or with a barcode scanner. Okay. But
Yes.
in terms of bank, if I have to talk, can I consider bank statement to be a dynamic database for me?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Because you are using, let's say, ABC card and you are using it somewhere else or some other ATM, some other POS and all. How is the data collected to your bank database? Though it's possible, it is happening, that's the reason it's there, but it is storing multiple transaction details with the date, time, area, everything, and it is one database what you receive by end of the month to your email ID. Now, doing that same activity, consider here in DB schema, consider this center diagram to be your bank statement on all the other functionalities, whatever you're doing, or you can see here, are the transactions performed anywhere across the area. These all are being collected and stored in one database, and that is when you get a statement. Am I able to clear the doubt here for database schema?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Great. So some important commands in SQL which you can find, like select from table, and how it is happening, select customer name from customer, city from customers. The other one, delete from table name, where condition is delete from customers where customer is so and so. Definitely we will not have the option of delete anywhere in any organization. Create database, again database name, test DB, you will not have option. Drop also, we will not have option of database names. Truncate, then insert. Grant command in SQL is like grant previous name, you will be given grant, definitely we cannot type for ourselves. And revoke command. So
can you explain truncate again?
Yeah. Truncate is something towards the numbers and decimals. So if you see here, 340, I have given a rough number. It is not towards any scenario as such. But when I'm truncating that format for me, I am rather trying to remove all the lines from the database. Means when I am pulling the data, let's say I'm trying to pull a data for retail section only. Now, as of now, you are able to see with the grid, column, rows, and everything. Okay, and some values are there. When I am going to truncate that data, I am first of all removing anything numbers and decimals over there. It will become only value or only data for me. Example, let me try to show you. I'll try to put you the same thing in Excel so that it will be helpful. Give me a second, let me pull the Excel. Yep. Pandurang.
So what is the difference between delete and truncate?
I'll tell you. Guys, give me a minute. I'm unable to access my Excel.
Sir, as a BA, we have to use these commands?
No, as a BA, we are only limited till extraction of any table just to see whether it is working correctly as per the client requirement or not. Otherwise, we will not have access for any of this thing. Just we told like CRUD.
Only view access.
Only view access. None of the other things.
I have if we are not going to perform all that things, right? It's only for knowledge purpose. Right?
Sorry?
We are not going to perform all that things as a BA, right?
No.
It's just for knowledge purpose. Yeah.
You will not, because database is something which does not, this access is not even available for the management. Only database team will maintain that. They have the credentials to log in. They have the right to give the access only for those who have good idea. And BAs are no exception there. will not be
And
given access.
one more.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, I have one more question. In the interview point of view, so it's a part of the SQL, right? The interviewer are going to ask that questions.
Sorry, can you repeat again the question?
Yeah, so it's an interview questions or not? Means the interviewer are going to ask that questions.
Interview will ask you a question, are you good with the SQL? You can tell directly that as a BA, I am only having idea where I can extract the structure to look if it is working correctly or not. If you have a good knowledge in SQL also, it is good thing, because if you're trying for a BA, you can maybe place a request on techno-functional skills.
Yes.
Okay, if you're into a BA techno-functional, then yes, very good. You can use that functionality and you can have little more advantage over there. But if you don't have a skill of SQL, need not to worry, because it is not mandatory.
Sir, but so many companies are asking in JD, there is a SQL knowledge.
Yes, they will ask because they are trying to filter.
But due to that only, the resume will not shortlisting.
See, in interviews, they will ask many things. If you go with the JDF, they will ask a lot of things which is not even relevant to your role also. In some JDF, they will ask you also to work in R, Python and all those things. Are you aware with the Python and all? No. As a BA, we don't have to look into the aspects. I am into management role where I will maintain your client and your IT team so that the work is getting done clearly. And yes, having some skill set or knowledge over there is nothing wrong. But even if it's not there for at least SQL, I don't have to worry about it. Interviews, they will put multiple clause that you should know this, and all. But how you speak with them, how confident you can make them that, boss, I am required to have this knowledge and I'm having it. So tomorrow, if you say that I am having a knowledge of Python or .NET and all, so I believe slowly from BA role, you will be shifting towards developer role. Will that be okay? Is it that what you want?
If the technical knowledge is there, then they can shift to the development role.